I will just focus here on the wood and wood-based products and how things are changing and what sort of reporting frameworks are coming up with time now. Um, Now we all know that climate change, it's a global concern. Everybody is worried about this. And all this thing has brought into focus in most of the industrial producting or development or in businesses. Now the focus is on environment. We are talking about eco-awareness, green technologies, green solutions, like that, eco materials. And like this, there are lots of areas which have now opened up in businesses and industries, which are basically targeting our all global concerns towards the climate change. And see, the what are the causes and how that it is resulting in the changing environment. We all are aware of that. But what is the focus is on, I think the slide is a bit small, like whether right from transportation, right from industrial production or housing construction or in any other product development. Now there has been focus on environmental assertions. Either we are talking about biodegradable, so when we are talking about most of the plastic products, now we are looking for biodegradable products, or we are talking about less polluting systems, or we are talking about water saving systems, or bio-based contents. And this is there in each and every aspect right now. And in fact, if you see these days, we are all bombarded with these sort of words: eco-friendly, organic, natural, sustainable, bio-based, environmental friendly, energy efficient, green materials, and so on and so forth. But how do we know that what are they? Like, how do we say that it is a green material? How do we say that it's a bio-based material? Now, there has to be some framework, something to decide on what basis we are talking about certified material. In fact, and today itself, if you would have seen the newspaper, now FSSAI has come out with the clear-cut guidelines that fruit juice you can't write 100% natural because it contains lots of other things. Now, unless until these sort of guidelines comes to the picture, then only we can say, like, where are we going? And I would like to just tell here that we are talking mostly about greenwashing. We do some activity, and then you just say, this is eco-friendly. And most of the, like, this is an example I'm giving is that WPC. Like whatever the products now we are getting, it contains about 4%, 3%, 5% wood, but it is still called as a wood polymer composite. And then you could talk it as an eco-friendly, environmental friendly material and all those things. So there are lots of things which are going on in the name of greenwashing everywhere. It is being realized that this is no more valid. We cannot continue to have these sort of systems where we are talking about greenwashing. And that's where the reporting framework has started coming up. And that's where we have started working on certification, accreditations, ratings. Very recently, now Government of India has come out, our BIS has come out with quality control orders, where we are talking about quality control. We are talking about energy auditing and so on and so forth. So like already for forestry, we already have the system now is a forest FSC certification. Now it has been, whether you talk about force, that it has been compelled that any product which has to be exported from India, the wooden product, it has to come from FSC certified resources. Now that is where the whole reporting framework is coming into the picture. And just to give some an example that how different countries are working on that, like in Japan started long back, and then they said green public procurement, and they said any public procurement should have a minimum this much bio-based content in their product. Now they came out and then they came out with the EcoMark certification in Japan, and this was somewhere in 2000. We are already in 2024. And this green public procurement is a policy in Japan where every material which is purchased in public services, it has to have green material with certain limitations. Now, not only that, in fact, USA started bio-preferred program. in 2001, and then in 2014 they ratified it. And it is a USDS bio-preferred program where any product only can be qualified as a bio-preferred if it has a certain amount of bio-based content. Like if it is a long-term product, even if it is a plastic product, so we are talking about WPC, it should have minimum about 45% bio-based content. Now, if it's a short-term like material, like cutlery items and all those things, they have a different norms for that. Now, there they have made it mandatory for all federal purchasing to go with the bio-preferred program where they have specified that how much should be bio content. Now, this biomaterial can be anything. It can be agricultural product, it can be forestry related materials, it can be proteins, but for each and every product now, I think more than 350 products, they have very clearly defined that what should be the bio-based content. And at least 25% bio-based unless the label applicant applies for and receives an alternative minimum bio. So that is what the norms most of the countries have come up. And very recently in 2024 March only, in fact, the European Union has adopted Green Claim Directive framework. And you cannot claim any material as a green material unless until you can prove it that it is a green material. And that is only to avoid that whole greenwashing which was going on all over the world. Now we have, it demands companies in Europe to back eco-friendly claims about their product with evidence to get rid of this misleading green labels. And I think this is just a start. In European Union, it has come up. Now I think everywhere this thing will come up. And we cannot also just sit and we also need to work on these areas. That how can we claim green credits or green ratings for our materials and avoid this greenwashing phenomena which is happening. In fact, if you talk about, see, wood is one of those material which is largely being used in construction industry apart from furniture, handicraft, toys and all those things. For construction industry already they have this green building rating systems. And each and every country, in fact, I have just given you some examples. And again, we talk about different parameters. And one of the parameters is the material. So material has to be green material. Now, green material, what do you call as a green material? Now, wood, as per our Indian framework, it comes under medium energy material. Whereas bamboo, obviously, it comes under low energy material. So if you use more and more bamboo, probably you get more points for green rating of buildings. Okay, so based on this, already we are also having this sort of system, and but I think these are not enough. We need to go beyond these sort of rating system if we really want to make our wood products sustainable. So this, I just don't want to talk too much. We all know about this wood. It's a biodegradable, low environment impact and all those things. What is more important is how to certify. So there has to be a decision support tool and there has to be some information tool which are required to certify wood, whether it is a green material and what sort of products we are coming out with. And also customers should be aware, like if there is a green product, like if it's a wood-based product, whether we talk about furniture coming out from Gujarat or handicraft items from Rajasthan. Now there has to be some information mechanism where the customer should be able to know that how much energy has gone into production of this material or what are the carbon footprints of this particular product. So these sort of things are basically required to certify. And already for forestry, we have some certification mechanisms now, but slowly things are changing and we are talking about environmental product declaration. And in that EPDs, what we call as the EPDs, it's no more only certification of forest or chain of custody or from where the material is coming. It goes much more or beyond that. Like that is when we talk about FSC, you would have seen Energy Star rating on all your refrigerators and electrical appliances. These are all, they have become now mandatory. And I'm sure on wood products also, things will become mandatory like EPDs down the line. Not only wood products, I would say for each and every product, that environmental product declaration will become routine things, and then only it will help industries to export their material. So whether it's a wood-based industries or whether it's wood panel products, we need to have these APDs. So like these are the three different versions. So one is what we call as environmental labels. That's a type 1. Basically, it identifies products which are determined to be environmentally preferable, and that's where the certification comes. The second one is self-certification. That you certify yourself that my products are environmental friendly. And that is where the whole greenwashing came into the picture. So third one is, it's the most critical, is you need to have an environment product declaration, which has to be based on the substantial life cycle analysis of the product. So when you do life cycle analysis, you basically come out with the total energy consumption, total carbon dioxide emission, and it depends at what stage to what stage we are doing that LC analysis. Now, if you see, I just give you for forest products. Now, if you have a forest products industry, we have raw material which is coming from the forest, or it can be certified forest, or it can be tree outside forest. Once again, the material has to be certified or known, or we need to know the chain of custody. Then either it will go to pulp mill, or it will go to engineered wood plant, where it will get converted into either plywood or MDF or any other engineered product, or it will go to sawmill. And finally, at each stage, when the products are being developed, then it goes for uses. At the end, it will get disposed of. Now, when it goes disposed of, at each and every stage, how much carbon dioxide emission is taking place. And we are fortunate, being in wood product industry or wood products, that wood itself is a material. Sorry. Yeah. So basically, it's a biological material, and it's not very difficult for us to get lower, um, what to say, carbon dioxide emission when we are talking about wood-based products. Now, where this life cycle analysis comes, like basically right from the raw material ultimately to disposal, what sort of emissions are taking place at each and every step, which we need to count. And once we have this data, industry can have their own declared value, like how much carbon dioxide emission has taken place, or what are the carbon footprints for this particular type of products. And here I just would like to say, like these are the different type of LCS what we have. So the range of LCS now people are doing it. One is cradle to grave. So that's complete, right from the sourcing of material to the end of life cycle. For cradle to gate, so sourcing the material, and then when the product goes out of the factory. So only up to that. And most of this EPDs, environmental product declaration, they require us to give cradle to gate. They don't want you have cradle to and grave. Then you have cradle to cradle. So basically it's a closed loop. So if you are doing that recycling of the material again, and that's where it goes to cradle, gate to gate, well to wheel. So well to wheel, it talks only about the transportation processes, like how much energy is going into the transportation. Of late, people have started talking about economic input output life cycle also. So then we start adding social and economic aspects into the whole life cycle analysis. Ecology based and exergy based, so like energy based, only based on the energy, whether it can be electrical energy or it can be any other source of energy. Now, what we need to do is that we need to identify goals and scope, that for any LCA study, for any product or for any industrial product, what are the goals, what should be the scope, whether I am going to do cradle to grade, whether I am going to do gate to gate. And then second thing we should have is the life cycle inventory. Inventory of each and every process which we are going to go through into the entire manufacturing process or production process. So there we can't miss anything. So that is where EPD asks you to go for third-party certifier. So third-party certifier will validate that whatever EPD we have come out, whether it is really true or not. So then that's where they will tick mark each and every aspect. Like even if you are moving material from one point to another point, how much energy you are consuming into that. If I am making any product finishing line, so how much energy I am going to consume into that. So we need to have a proper life cycle inventory for these any product. And finally, it is that impact assessment. What sort of impact? So like for each, now there are many softwares, there are many eco inventories now which are available. For each process, how much energy has gone into that, or what sort of carbon footprints are there. Now we have a database. There are huge database, whether it is we call a Gabi database or eco inventory, or there are many other, where we know that for Europe, what sort of energy consumptions are there. And now we are also building up database for our Indian system, because you can't simply bring in the energy consumption in Europe or USA and compare it with an Indian system. So that amount of energy consumed in India probably very different than what amount of energy consumed in any other country. So that impact assessment has to be done. And finally, the most critical part is that how do you interpret all these results? Because it becomes very cumbersome. It's not that simple. And that is where we need to have lots of expertise on doing LCA. And in India, I think there are very few agencies which are basically involved in doing life cycle analysis. In fact, I started looking at how many things which we have done, and mostly still it is in academics. Most of the LCA studies are part of academics, where we are talking about industrial LCAs. So this whole environment product declaration came because of that LCA.
इसका parameters क्या है LCA का?
Sir, I'll just come to that. So like, I'll give an example. Like they have about 10 to 12 criteria for LCA analysis. So EPDs are basically standardized, verified documents that transparently present creditable information about a product's impact on the environment throughout its various stages of life cycle. So it's total life cycle. And already globally, I think there are about 17,000 EPDs have been published. And there's a lot of momentum right now. But only thing is that EPDs are also like FSCs. The way FSC came into India, now everybody has started forcing people to go with the FSCs. And I'm sure down the line that EPDs will also come. And I happen to come to know that there's already one company in India which is giving now EPD India. So they have started processing, but they are linked with international EPD. So there's another organization. So like this, this thing will basically percolate down the line in India, and more and more industry will have to have these EPDs, because once you have a EPD, the buyer can decide, particularly let's say for construction industry, I am using wood, or I am using wood-based product like CLT or GLT or plywood or MDF. If I have a EPD document with me saying that my product has this much of carbon dioxide emission, or this is that carbon footprint of my product, the overall footprint of the building will also depend on the material's carbon footprint. So that customer can decide, and then they can claim the ratings in different building ratings, like whether it is a BREEAM or LEED or GRAHA. So in GRAHA still it is not there, but I think these are things which we need to bring in our system, so that this can be taken up for our products as well. So basically we need to define product, then develop LCA studies, verify data, data quality, and create EPD. So this is the basically process of entire EPD. I don't want to go, I think you will get it. But already there are EPDs available now. Like for Sweden, they have done Swedish sawn wood and plain wood products. So they have come out with their figures that how much carbon footprint is there for their sawn wood, which is coming from the forest, going into the transportation, industry, planing, seasoning. After that, again, it is transported to another industry, and everything is taken into account. It's all negative, sir. That's one good thing, that for wood, it is all negative carbon footprint. And that is where I think wood is such a material that whenever we are going to use wood, it's going to like put into carbon negative.
Proof for plywood also?
Sir, I will just, I have a for MDF. MDF also I have. Yeah. So not only that, they have to have a product category rule. So product category, first we have to define the product category. Like my product, is it going for construction sector? My product, is it going for furniture sector? Or it is going for handicraft sector? And for each product, these EPD rules will differ. Okay. So then like in Norway, they have come out with the wood and wood-based products for use in construction. So they have product category rule, and then they have to compare this material with the material which are being used in construction industry. So if I'm using, let's say CLT, so I have to use now my EPD of CLT against the EPD of RCC. And if I can prove that my EPDs, as per my EPD, my carbon footprints are lower than the RCC carbon footprint, then I am at an advantage. The whole idea is that. So let's say for toys, it can be different because you have to compare material with the same category material only. So these are the things like for iJoist, they have done. It has been done for USA. Um, and for North American wood EPDs, they're all available. In fact, they're all available freely. We can just download them. North American softwood lumber, plywood, OSBs, glulam, LVL, LSL, wood iJoist, and even for redwood lumber. So even if I'm producing lumber itself, I can have an EPD. So if I'm using that lumber for house construction or that lumber for furniture industry or that lumber for any other product, then I can have the carbon footprint values of my material and which can be comparable, and basically to claim and then to say that yes, my product is green, or then I can claim on that yes, it is falling into this particular category. So just to give you an example, I think I just got this for, I just took it for MDF. If you see they have some different criteria. Whether global warming potential, what is the potential for acidification, what is the potential of eutrophication, potential for ozone depletion. So based on all these parameters, so there are lots of things which has to go behind this while calculating. Whether for that, they have given that framework that how do you put everything into that. And for let's say for MDF, if I am producing 1 cubic meter, the total carbon dioxide per cubic meter is minus 818 kg. So that's in negative. So basically like that. Now potential depletion of the ozone layer, then again it's a very small. When we talk about acidification or eutrophication or potential formation of photochemical oxidants, so for each, these are parameters. When you do, say, basically you have to use software for this, and then they will give you that value, and based on this value, we can tell that what sort of material like it's coming up. Basically, it's a water killer. Like when you use for resin manufacturing.
MDF manufacturing, since it involves refining process,
The
there is
refining.
lot of discharge of effluents. So all the MDF industries in India are equipped with the treatment plants to neutralize the toxic chemicals, so that they address to the eutrophication as well as the acidification process.
They wet it. They don't use dry wood, sir. It has to be wet, should have some type of moisture. So during this process, what happens, when the wood is exposed to rain or in a damp for a longer time, and then it goes for a refining, this process of eutrophication and acidification comes into picture.
So, and then they also given like if you have a coated MDF boards with melamine coated MDF boards, then how much you are adding further into that. So I think these sort of studies we also need to carry out. And I just said like in India, there is an international EPD system, India, now it has come up. And it's basically Indian EPD program. And they also follow ISO 14025 or EN 15804. So if you are following ISO, I think we can also adopt on similar lines that we follow either our Indian system or ISO system and go with that and have some sort of a declaration system for India also. In fact, I would like to say here that India was one of the first country who started with EcoMark. It's not a new thing. It's almost 35 year old when BIS started with EcoMark. Now, EcoMark was also basically targeting that are we following some environmental friendly processes and all those things. But I think this eco mark only, if we can further extend for getting our product detailing or our carbon footprint of our products based on the same eco mark, then that will make it much easier. And I think that is where BIS can take some lead into this, and we can start doing LCA and using BIS. We can also have this declaration values, which should be internationally, should be valid. Now it can be certified, it can be third party certifier. Any organization can become a third party certifier, like those institute which have capabilities, they can become a third party certifier to ensure that whatever the analysis has been done properly or not. Now, this framework needs to be developed for different wood-based products. Now, I just, in fact, IWST, we also started working on life cycle analysis. First, I think long back, we started working on particle board, but later on, we also started working on wood plastic composite. And very recently, we have also done some attempts to do life cycle analysis of uh, Bombay box. It's a wooden box, which is very popular and which is exported in many other countries. And I must thankful to Ms. Swati Mishra, who is a research scholar working on that. And she has come out with this. I just discussed with her in the morning, and we got some results. So like this is, one thing is that it's not a very, like you have to have a information on each and every piece, every bit, whatever we are doing in the entire process. So like if I am doing, like, let's say example is wood plastic composites. So right from where I'm getting wood, if I am processing, pulverizing, chipping, drying, if I'm transporting it from one lab to another lab, how much energy I'm putting into that, all those things have to be accounted. And that is where, for LCA at IWST, when we did for wood polymer composite and recycled WPC. So for each processing, we had a separate energy meters. So like if I am pulverizing, per kg basis or 5 kg basis or per batch basis, how much energy I am using it. If I am taking it to injection molding machine, per kg basis, how much energy I am consuming, how much water I am consuming. So all those data inventory, once we have, then this work was done here. And we have used SEMA Pro 9.1 software. Okay, and it will have lots of this data based on eco inventory. And now there are open source data are also available. For India also it's available, and this data can be used to basically assess the whole process. So like here, for WPC process, what are the processes which we identified? It's chipping, pulverization, drying, extrusion, pelletization, and injection molding. And per kg, how much material input is required in terms of energy consumption. It's like 1.2 kilowatt hour, 1.6, 19, 30.8. So that we can identify specific areas where energy consumption is more, and then try to look into that can we reduce that. Vis-a-vis we did for recycled plastic also, and then we realized that recycled plastic has lower value because we are using the recycled material. So that also has to be taken into consideration. So this is the environmental performance when we came out. Like what are the global warming potential of that for WPC? So it came out as 0.07. Okay, per kg, like kg per like CO2, fine particular matter, terrestrial acidification, freshwater eutrophication, marine eutrophication, terrestrial ecotoxicity, human carcinogenic toxicity. These parameters have been calculated for WPC. Now, this data will help any industry when they go with this particular data, that how much basically you are contributing to that overall carbon dioxide emission to the system, and overall contributing to that environmental degradation. That picture will arrive from here. So these are basically, these are the environmental performance indicators on different aspects. So the another example, what we, like she has done, in fact, I would say like she has done extensively on that, get LCA of Sardeli box, or something what we call the Bombay box. Now again, it requires lots of processes, because There are lots of inlaying, and here most of the work is done not by the machines, and most of it done by the people themselves. And what we require is that inventory, what sort of sawn wood you require. Even if you are require putti, that also has to be accounted, because from putti where it is coming, how much energy is going into that, how much energy I am putting into putting that putti. So all those things have to come from a verifiable, reliable source, and then we put into this. So again, EcoInvent database was used, and this analysis was done, like design layout, selection of materials, processing of material, construction of materials, binding of parts, and finally final product. So in the entire each and every stage, was how much energy has gone into that we take into account. And this is what that result comes into this. Though the font size is, like, I tried to make big font size, but what you see is below 0. I think you can just see that the green, then yellow, and that they are all carbon negative, and they all have sawn wood. So wherever you have wood material coming into the picture, they are converting into carbon negative. Now there are processes where using other metals, you are using other chemicals, you are using putty and all those things. They will contribute towards the carbon positive side. Now ultimately we have to see in the holistic way that how much exactly both positive and negative, can it become carbon neutral or carbon negative? And once we get that it is carbon neutral or carbon negative, any industry, they can claim that yes, my material is carbon neutral or my material is carbon negative, and then they will have lots of advantage when you are sending material overseas. And obviously these bindings will come down the line in the industry. So whether whatever the material we are exporting, or I think it is also necessary for the Indian system also, because if we want to care about our planet Earth or our environment, we have to have these sort of information readily available to us. And I'm sure this will pick up down the line. Thank you very much. If you have any questions.